Hi guys, welcome back to Bado-Dev channel. This video is a SQL language complete tutorial for beginners. We will learn SQL Server from basic queries to more complex queries using SQL Server. Our lesson topics is the following. We will start from a simple select statement. We will add the order by, the select of, the distinct, and so on. We will learn more complex queries in the second part of our lesson when we will talk about the common joins like inner, left, right, and cross, the union keyword, the group by clause, and the having clause. In the group by clause, we will learn also some aggregation functions. Okay, now we can start. In this tutorial, we will use two different tables that are contained in the AdventureWorks database. The first table is the dim customer that contains the list of customers, and the second one is the fact internet sales where we can find all the order details of all customers. Our first lesson topic is the base select statement. In this case, we have to use two different keywords, the select and the from. After the select keyword, we have to specify the list of fields that we want to show, that we want to obtain from our table by our query. And after the from keyword, we have to indicate the table or the list of tables that we want to use in our query. So in this case, we start adding the table. So AdventureWorks is the name of database, .dbo is the name in SQL Server, the name of the full table schema, and dim customer is our table. And here we have to indicate the list of fields that we want to obtain. So in this case, there are two different ways. We can say the star. In this case, we will obtain all the fields and all the rows from our table. So we can start looking at this result. Okay, here we can see that there are some customer data like the email address, gender, first name, last name, and so on. For example, now we can think to extract only the first name, the last name, and the email address. Okay, let's execute it. And so we will obtain the same number of rows, but only 3 fields, the fields that we specified after our select keyword. Next topic is the order by command. In this case, we can copy the previous query and add here our order by command. Okay, it's very important to know that the order by command must always be the last command in our query. So we have to add it in this case after the from keyword, and we can say order by. For example, we want to obtain our data ordered by last name. Okay, in this case we can see that we obtained the Adams, the Alexander, and so on. The default order is ascending, but we can also specify, for example, another field, first name, desk. We will obtain data ordered by last name, and if last name are equal, then are ordered by first name but descending. And now we can see the results. The first names are ordered descending. Let's go to the next topic, that is the select top keyword. Also in this case, we can copy our previous query. The select top is a keyword that allows us to extract only a subset of records. So if we launch it, we have more than 8,000 records, but for example, we want to obtain the top 10. Okay, it will return only 10 records that are ordered as we said before. Let's go through the select distinct keyword. is an easy concept. By this command, we will obtain the distinct fields from our table. For example, if we write select distinct, only last name from adventworks.dvl.customer, order by last name. So we will obtain the list of last name, but if there are more than one record with this last name, the distinct command allows us to obtain it only once. Now let's learn the where conditions, applying the and, the or, the in, the between, and the like commands. In this case, we can go to copy one of the preview queries, and we can apply to it some conditions. We can add to it the date first purchase. Okay, and in this case we can add our where condition. Okay, where must be after the from condition, immediately after. And now we can say where. Into our where we can define some conditions that we want to apply to our query. For example, we can say where last name equals to Babington. And in this case, we obtain these 4 fields only for these 2 records where the last name is Babington. But we can also apply an AND condition to our query. So we can say where the last name equals to Babington, but also the first name equals to Richard. And in this case, we will obtain only one record, the record with the first name and the last name equals to the condition we specified. But if we say that the last name must be Babington, or the last name equals to Adams, we will obtain not only the record where the last name is Babington, but also the records where the last name is Adams. Okay, and in this case, we have the Adams, we have the Babington. Okay, 84 records. But this last condition can also be explained in a different way. We can use the in condition. So we can say that the last name in, and we can say here our two values. So we can say that the last name equals to Babington or to Adam. In this case, we'll obtain our 84 records like in the previous example. Another condition command that we can apply is the between command. In this case, I can show you one of the common examples is applying it to a date field. So we can say that date first purchase between 0101 and okay. And so we obtain only 35 records of customers where the date first purchase is between 2 dates. These 2 values are included. So the last condition command that I want to show you is the like. Like is very powerful because allows us to search into a field only a part of the string. For example, we can say where like add okay. Sorry, last name like. So in this case, we can see that we obtain only atoms. Okay. But for example, we can try to do in that way. So the ID can be at the start of the last name, in the middle, or in the end. It's not a problem. Okay. In this way, we obtain more than preview results. We obtain 290 records because the ID is contained also in Madan, for example. Let's learn also the column and table aliases. When we write our select statement, we can assign to every field a new name. For example, we can say that this must become the customer first name, and this must become the customer last name. And so in this case, if we execute it, we can see that the first name became the customer first name, and the last name now is the customer last name. Okay, the first part of our lesson is finished. Now we are starting the second part that is more complex. We will learn the common types of join, starting with the inner join. The inner join command selects records that have matching values in both tables. We will use the table that I explained you above. So we will use the dim customer and the fact internet sales tables. So we can write our select. In this case, we start with a star from adventureworks .dbo fact internet sales dim customer. Okay. We can assign an alias to all our tables, and now we can assign the C alias. Here we have to write our inner join. So inner join the adventureworks .dbo fact internet sales, and we can call it as. Now we have to indicate which are the fields that relates the two tables. In this case, there is the field c dot customer key equals to s dot customer key. And so we can also select only c dot first name, because c is the alias that we assigned to our dim customer table. The first name, c dot last name, c dot email address, s dot for example sales order number, and s dot date, the order date. So for example, if we say where last name equals to Babington, we can see that only Mark Babington is the customer for 3 orders, and so we obtain that data. Let's learn the left join command. The left join command selects all record of the table A, so the left side of our join, and even if a related record is not found into the table B, the table to the right side of our join. The result is null from the right side if there is no match. In this case, we can copy the preview query and we can write here not inner join but left join, and so for Babington we can see something different. So there is not only Mark Babington with 3 orders, but also Richard Babington, because we told to our query to take all record of the customer with this condition. Okay, so all Babington records of the customer. In this case, there are 2 Babington, Mark and Richard. Even if there are no records into the fact internet sales, in this case, Richard Babington has no fact internet sales, but with the left join, the data of the customer table are shown, and the other fields becoming from the fact internet sales are null. The right join is very similar to the left. In the right join, there is the inverse concept of the left join. So selects all records of the table B to the right side, even if a related record is not found into the table A to the left side. The result is null from the left side if there is no match. In this case, we copied the previous query, and we can say here right join. If we change the positions of our 2 tables, we will obtain the same results. Now let's go to learn the last join command in this lesson, the cross join command. The cross join produces a result set obtained by the number of rows in the table A multiplied by the number of rows in the table B. This kind of result is called a Cartesian product. We copied the previous query, and here there is a cross join. We obtained a result set that is the number of rows in the first table multiplied by the number of rows in the second table. So first table and second table. And now we can try this, and we can see that there are many records. We have 60,398 records into the fact internet sales and 2 customers, so they were replicated twice, once for Mark Babington and one for Richard Babington. So we finished learning the most common join commands, and now we go to learn the union command. The union command returns records obtained combining the result set of 2 or more select statements. The only thing that we have to remember is that in both queries, all fields names and times must match. So we can say select first name, last name from adventure.dbo.dim customer, where last name equals to Adams, union, last name, union. We can copy it, and we can say Babington order by name. We can execute our query, our 2 queries with the union clause in the middle, and we can see that we obtain 83 records, the Adams and the Babington. Let's go to see the next topic, that is the group by command, and here we will learn the most common aggregation functions. The group by command groups records that have the same value into summary rows. Is often used with aggregate functions. For example, count, the counts record, max, that obtains records with the max value in a specific field. The min is with the mean value in a specific field. The sum allows us to sum the data into a numeric field, and the average command allows us to obtain the average for a specific field. With this example, we can say select from adventureworks.dbo.dim dim customer, okay, our table, we can say in this case inner join, other works, view dot internet sales on c dot key customer key equal s dot customer key. First name as in the preview queries, last name, and here, for example, we try to use the count. The count allows us to count records, so we can say to count star as dot order details. Order details. We can try to use, for example, another one, the sum. We can sum the sales amount. So sales amount to obtain the total amount of all orders, and we can also try to use the average. We use these three functions. The sales amount, so we obtain as average amount. Okay, and now we can apply our group by clause. Group by, and group by must be applied to all fields that are not contained in the aggregation function. Group by the first name and the last name, and we can apply also the order by c dot last name. We are obtaining all the first name, the last name of our customers, and the list of total order details, because it counts all records. So it will count the records that are contained into the fact internet sales. So one customer and internet sales. So obtain a number of records that is the fact internet sales record. And these other two functions sums the sales amount. So here we have the total amount of all orders for every customer, and the average of the sales amount. So in this case, Adam Adams has two different order details for this total amount and for this average amount. Our last topic for today is the having command. The having command is similar to the where keyword, but is applied only to the aggregate functions, because the aggregate function can't be inserted into the where condition. So the having is the where condition for the aggregate functions. So in our example, we can copy the preview query, and we can add our having command that must be inserted after the group by. Having, and here we have to specify one or more of our aggregation functions, so the count, the sum, and the average. So we can try to use only the count. The count is greater than 2. Okay, in this case we will obtain only records where our total order details field, that is the alias of our count aggregation function, is greater than 2. And so, as you can see, there are only 3, 4, 5, 14, 6, and so on. Great! Our lesson is finished. Thank you very much for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to my Bado-Dev channel, and to follow me on Facebook. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.